on Fight Week Show fans, Fight Week Show people, them, and look what the cat has dragged in. We got Joffie in the house. How you doing, my brother?
Well, brother, I'm good. I'm living the dream, like just another day. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I mean, you're one of those guys that's really impressed on the area scene. You're in fact, we were talking off air just now. You know, you're in fact one of the guys on our boy Eryxgear. I'm gonna give him a shout out right now. Richard Rag, salute to Richard Rag. We fuck with him. He's like a mentor over here, and he looks after you as well on the sponsorship side of things. So shout out to Richard Rag. He actually made this happen today, man. So big up to him. Joffie, you're one of those guys you excite a lot when you're in action, when you're out there doing, you're in your natural environment, which I say as the cage, because people like yourself, you're not civilians, are you? You know what I mean? You man are warriors. You man are warriors.
I don't know, I'm an everyday guy. Like I'm just a normal guy. I'm no different than everybody else.
When you're not in your natural habitat in the cage, you're just a normal guy. You know what I mean?
I guess.
But let's move back a little bit, because I really want to tap into your come up, how you really got into the sports of martial arts, and what really drove your interest to the point where you're at now. Can you please enlighten our audience with that?
Yeah. So I mean, I've been training just over 6 years, a little bit over, so not too long. I'm like 30 this summer, so I'm a little bit, I'm getting up there in the age, the knees are feeling it, the back's feeling it. But I got into it. I remember watching UFC as a child with my uncle. We used to watch, you remember the days, like UFC 93 kind of region. We're talking Chuck Liddell, we're talking Tito Ortiz, we're talking, when Brock Lesnar came onto the scene. And I remember thinking, like, these guys are so cool. I want to be like that. So I trained a tiny bit then for 6 months, but I couldn't really afford it because obviously I was a lot younger. My mum couldn't afford it, whatever. So I put it on the back burner for a while. I tried it again when I was in university, but again, didn't really match what I was, the kind of lifestyle I had. And one night, me and my friends were watching UFC at my house. We were chilling, we was having a drink, and I remember saying to one of my friends who happened to train, this is ridiculous. This guy on the ground right now, he sucks. I could destroy him. And they were like, well, you've never trained in your life. It's a really big thing to say. And I was like, okay, so it's Saturday night now. Monday, we train. Monday, we train, no questions asked. We just go and do it. Monday came, I went to training, and I got beat down. I was made to feel, like I wasn't very good. And that was the best thing ever, because at that point I was like, well, now I'm going to do this until I'm very good. So I obviously, I live in Stoke-on-Trent. So I was training here at the time. After about a year and a half, I was like, right, I need to expand my horizons. I moved to SBG in Manchester. I spent a couple of years there until Matt Inman, the old coach, left. And obviously lockdown happened, and that come with its own challenges. I was going through some personal challenges in my life with my own mental health. So I'd spent some time on antidepressants and things like that. And you kind of have the challenges of life, as you say.
It's tough.
I moved on to Manchester top team. It is tough. Yeah. But tough times make I don't know what the saying is. Tough times make tough people, I guess. I moved to Manchester top team after that. I started having a bit more success. Really worked on the striking there with Andrew Lofthouse. And then recently, obviously, had the opportunity to train with Tom Aspinall in the lead up to his fight with Tybura. And since then, I've kind of moved my whole camp there, and I just kind of train there. But I've still got a good network in Stoke-on-Trent where I train. I guess the journey seems like it's not been any kind of time frame at all. It feels like yesterday I was doing my first session, and then I kind of it's only when people ask me to take a step back and think about it, I'm like, yeah, we had quite a few amateur fights, we had quite a few pro fights, we're 7-2 as a pro now. It's been hectic, and especially considering I've had in that time, obviously there was lockdowns and stuff, but I've had over a year out with injury. I could be so much further along, but them's the breaks.
I mean, everything happens for a reason. Every timeline happens for a reason, and You know, you even mentioned maybe even being a bit further up, further along in your career, but at the same time, where you are at right now, and the kind of noises and splashes you're making in the MMA community, people are seeing it. People are watching you. They're keeping an eye on you. I've been following you for a while. I'm sure you noticed.
Yeah, I did.
And I just thought to myself, bro, this brother is explosive, and these are the sort of things that makes armchair fans like me, because I'm just gonna call myself what I am. You know what I mean? I would never do what you guys do. I love it from a distance. I'm a nerd. I study it. I'm everything but inside what you guys do right there in the cage. So I give maximum absolute respect to you guys, you know, for what you really do out there to entertain people like myself and many MMA fans across the world. If I was to ask you, what would Joffie be doing now if he weren't knocking people out into the oblivion? Another job. If you weren't doing MMA, what would Joffie really be doing?
I don't know, because you know, a lot of people know I work a full-time job as well. So
Yeah.
I you know, obviously I have a job outside of fighting, because
Yeah.
fighting doesn't always pay the bills, unfortunately. You know, I'd love it if it did, but right now it doesn't. So I have a real job. But I think you know, if I wasn't probably doing this, maybe I'd still be playing basketball. Maybe I'd have gone back to I used to be in cycling. Maybe I'd have gone back to that. Maybe I'd be doing triathlons. Maybe I'd just be an armchair fan and I'm telling everybody how great I could be. You know, I don't really know. I think it's hard for me to sit there and say, like, what would I do outside of it? Because even at the stage I'm at now, if you ask me to have a day off training, I'm like, well, what do I do with the day then? Like, do I just sit here all day and do nothing? You know, maybe I'll play my PlayStation for an hour, and then it's like, okay, what now? What do I do after I've played the game for an hour? When do I go to the gym? When do I train? And I always tell everybody that I'm not a fighter 24/7. I'm only a fighter for like a few hours a day. So those few hours would be when I'm training, when I'm making food, things of that nature, when I have to be a fighter. And the rest of it, I'm just Joffie. I'm just myself. Like, we don't even need to talk about fighting. You know, if I go to work, nobody even mentions fighting to me. That's not on their radar. That's not, you know, if I speak to my missus, she doesn't care about fighting. You know, she's just like, what have you done with your day? Oh, you've been training again. You know, she's more bothered about like what's going on in the real world. So I don't let fighting define me. I don't like MMA doesn't define who I am as a person. So, you know, when you're asking like what would I be doing if I wasn't fighting, I don't really know, because I'd probably just be doing the same things I am now.
Fair enough, and fantastic answer as well, because you know we as MMA fans and in the MMA community, we kind of idolize you guys, because the way we look at things is that guy is over there doing things that I could only dream of doing, if that makes sense, right?
I get it.
And that's where, you know, when a lot of fans look at MMA fighters or any professional athlete for that matter, not even MMA fighter, it's always kind of seen like that guy. I idolize him because I can relate to him in like you're an everyday guy, go to work, just an everyday guy, but also at the flick of a button, he can do some crazy shit that I can only dream of doing, you know, and that puts you.
I don't know though, because you could just, if you woke up one day and was like, okay, so I do you know what? I love talking about MMA, but I'm going to do it. Like, you could do that crazy shit. Like, that could be you. And that's the difference maker. Like, and I think this is like it's a really definitive thing about people as a whole. We have people that kind of sit there and go like, I can't, and there's a bunch of reasons why I can't. Or people that say I can, and I'll figure out how I can. And I'm very big on the whole I can side of things. Like, I can do this. I don't know. There's logistical issues. There's a lot of things I don't know. There's all of this stuff that I need to figure out on the way, but I'll figure it out. Like, I'll get there, and you know, maybe it's not perfect first time. Maybe it's not what I needed it to be, but I'll figure it. And then you have the other kind of side of the equation, which is I don't have all of these things. so I can't, almost like barriers to entry.
Yeah.
And you either have to look at it as a barrier or an opportunity, or do you know what I mean? You can't sit there with it. And I'm not saying this so that you go off and have a fight, but in terms of, I think MMA has one of, for me, the lowest barriers to entry in terms of sport. Other than get to somewhere to train, because you don't particularly need good training partners at first, but other than get to somewhere to train that's affordable, there isn't a great barrier to entry for MMA. If you think about, if we take football, outside of grassroots level, so like children's football, the barrier to entry is so high because you have to be so talented immediately. And if you're not as talented, you're going to play like five-a-side league with your friends. That's cool, but for you to be competitive, the barrier to entry is really, really high, just in terms of that. If you look at cycling as a sport, cycling is very, very expensive. So the barrier to entry is hard because it costs a lot. If you want to do MMA, you can get a set of gloves for 40 quid, you can get a gum shield for £2, you can get a cup for 15.
And that's you.
and you're good. Maybe a set of shin guards if you're feeling adventurous, another £40. Less than £100, you got a basic setup, get yourself to a gym.
Yeah. I mean, look, you've just dropped, a whole gem for our viewers, for people that might even be thinking about doing something like this. That's a whole new perspective, a whole new outlook that you've just dropped for our audience and even myself. And thank you for that. I want to ask you this, right? You are a poster boy for Eryxgear. All right, we got to talk about my boy Richard Rag. You're a poster boy for him, and from all accounts and the conversations that we've had, has a lot of respect for you and your work, your craft. But how did you come across Eryxgear, and how did everything happen in terms of them, starting to sponsor you? What was the conversation and stuff like that?
So with Rich, it was weird. So I was at a point of my career in terms of MMA where I'd lost in Bellator. I wasn't severely depressed anymore, but I was on the come up again. And I remember he was just about to launch the shorts, and I messaged him and was like, "Hey, these actually look really cool. When they drop, could you let me know?" So I try and be active on social media because you need to have presence for fighting. But if I'm completely honest with you, I can't stand social media. I'd happily delete it all tomorrow if I thought I could get away with it. If I thought I could sell fights and get myself to where I want to be without social media, I wouldn't have Facebook, I wouldn't have Instagram, I wouldn't have Twitter. Instagram's the only one I really use. They'd all be deleted and I'd sit in peace. However, I don't have that option because I need them. But it was fortunate because I messaged Rich and said, "Let me know when they drop." So he messaged me and was like, "The shorts have dropped." So I was like, "Cool, I'm going to order a set." After that, we went to a show together, Cage Steel. It just so happened that we had a couple of mutual friends who were fighting. So I was like, "Oh, awesome. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll drive up there. I think it was about an hour from him and 2.5 hours from me." But I was like, "I want to go anyway." He was like, "Well, we'll go together then." So he got his tickets, and I was like, "Oh, cool. Well, like, I'll give you the money. It's not a problem. Like, but we'll go together. We'll make it a thing." And he's like, "Don't worry. I've sorted it with Cage Steel." So we went there to watch. We just had a laugh, and that's like I said, I'm not a fighter like 24/7. I'm just Joffie. So we had a laugh. We got on really well. So we decided like, "Oh, we'll go UFC together," and then we've just got like he is like a sponsor. Like he sends me all the clothing under the sun. Like, so here's a true story for you, right?
Right.
And this is the kind of person that Rich is, and he would never speak on it. He'd never mention this to anybody if I didn't tell it. It's very much my story to tell. Yeah. So we went to France recently for Aries, and my mother and my partner came with us. Okay. Unfortunately, the check-in for their hotel closed at 9. We did not arrive till 11. I didn't know this. Now, me being me, I'm stressed, and it's fight week. But I happened to be messaging Rich because he was like, "Have you landed?" I was like, "Yes, I've landed, but I've got a bit of a nightmare. I can't check them into their hotel. Got no idea where they're going to stay for the night. Got no idea what's going to go on. I'm stressed. I can't, I need some sleep. I'm tired. I need to get home." So he's like, "Chill, just relax 2 minutes." He's like, "Where are you staying?" I was like, "I'm staying at the Evergreen, which is the hotel they put us up in." I was like, "It's like a 30 35-minute walk from here. I'm going to get us an Uber back and I'll figure everything out. Rich was like, cool. When you get there, check your bank account. There'll be enough money for you to book a room for them for a night. To which I was like,
what?
I was like, bro, I haven't told you because I need money. I haven't told you. I've just told you because I'm having a rant.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but you're fighting this week. I don't want you to be stressed. I want you to be relaxed. And I want them looked after.
Yeah.
He knows I'm going to do something stupid like sleep on the floor if this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So Rich sends me money to put my mom and my partner in a hotel room for the night. That's the kind of guy Rich is. And that's
it really is that guy.
He's that guy. And I've got so much time and respect for him. Like the amount of times I get two things from Rich. I get either memes all day or business ideas. And it's just, there's no middle ground. I get loads of memes or business ideas. And I'm like, this is a good idea or this is a bad idea. I've got the new, I haven't told anybody, but the new sample for the next set of shorts, the Gladiator slits, will be arriving at my door probably today or tomorrow. So I'm going to test them out, give them the feedback on those and see how they are. But yeah, we just, I wouldn't even, it's a sponsorship, but it's a friendship. It's, for me, it's very important that, and I think it's about all the kind of relationships we have. It's very important that they don't just live in kind of one realm. If they just live in the realm of fighting, there's no use for that. In the nastiest of ways, there's no use for that relationship for me because I'm not a fighter 24/7, which means your relationship and what we're building could only be useful to me in a very, very short term. I'll never understand fighters that take up, kind of sponsors for their camp. You kind of want to promote a brand long term, surely, but you'll take it up for the camp because you need it to support you, and then they'll get exposure, but that exposure is very short term for a business and for a person. You kind of have to look at your relationships differently, in my opinion.
Look, everything that you said about Richard there, near enough word for word, I had the same experiences with him, and a lot of fighters that are under it, they probably got similar sort of experience, which is why, like you said, if he's not sending memes when he's just being Richard being funny, he's sending business ideas, which I see as a mentorship sort of thing as well. And if you're doing, say something wrong, or I've had times where I go to Richard, I say, Richard, I'm thinking of doing this. What path do you think I should take? Or I'm thinking of posting this. Or I just go to him and he's always got time for everyone.
Yeah,
he's got time for everyone, and that's what I love the most about Richard. And big up to Richard Rag and Eryxgear and what they got going on. We're going to continue to support them, and for fighters like yourself that are in conjunction with the sponsorship, it's only going to get bigger. I mean, his ambition to get up to the level of Gymshark and maybe even surpass them, and he's got that will in motion to really do that. It's just astonishing. He inspires me every day, and I'm sure he inspires a lot of people that work around Richard all the time, just seeing the way that he goes after it. But you mentioned something earlier on about depression, which I really want to touch on. Like, for me, mental health is such a big thing in this space, in this sport. Sometimes when maybe you're on a losing streak or you're on an injury, certain things start to creep into the mind. And I've spoken to people like Modestas Bukauskas that had a really, really bad leg injury, and he was in that state, and it took him a long while to dig himself out of it. But what I wanted to ask you is, what role has mental health played in your life and your career, and how do you make sure that you keep a healthy mental state?
I mean, okay, so let's spin it back. So I was really, really depressed. And I'll say it with a smile because I'm always buzzing now. I had a really down time in my life where a lot of things have gone wrong. I was in quite a bit of debt, which people do know. The bit that really sparked the thing is, and I don't really talk about the kind of catalyst for it all, but my my ex-partner sadly miscarried with our child, which was, it wasn't. You have to understand that in terms of pregnancies, it is very common. It's a very common thing that happens.
Yeah.
It's no one's fault, and it's actually more prevalent at the early stages. So it was quite early on, and it sat really deep with me for a long time. We broke up not long after, and I never got to kind of get to peace with it. And I didn't really think about it ever. I just kind of buried my head into everything else. So I did loads of work. I was working a lot. Then I found MMA, so I was training a lot. Then I started to I think I just had my pro debut. And then I lost. I lost in a one-night tournament. And I didn't sleep. And it was the first time I just didn't sleep. And I remember the person that I was with at the time, we were actually in a hotel in Manchester. We've been out for a few drinks, like celebration drinks, more consolation. And I just didn't sleep. And they were like, "Are you coming to bed?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to come in a minute." I wasn't doing anything. I was just sat kind of in a room, just chilling. And I remember everything being really quiet. And I was like, this is unusual for me. After that, things just got worse. So I got to a point where I didn't really want to leave the house. When I was leaving the house, I'd get to say the gym and I'd have like a mini panic attack and be like, I can't really do this. And it took me a long time to come to terms with what was going on. I was awake. If I was sleeping for a long time, but I was awake a lot. And we got to the conclusion that I was like, I've got a little bit of depression. It wasn't the world's most severe thing, but it wasn't a good time in my life. So I got myself on some antidepressants. And then, obviously I worked my way through those. When I started to wean off, lockdown happened to happen, which, blessing and a curse, because I just kind of got off them. And I was like, I'm going to really need these because I'm going to struggle with this change. And then was like, hang on, let's just wait and see what happens. And fortunately, it was great weather. And, it made me have more time for my friends and my loved ones. But, those kind of experiences made me really grateful for everything that's in my life. I'm actually very blessed in this life. Like I'm not super affluent and I don't come from like a wealthy family, but I have a lot of people around me that love me and care for me. I have a roof over my head. It's been a long time since I was homeless and I have a home now. So it's like, I've got everything that's good. So I've got like no reason to be like, oh my God, I'm so sad. So now it plays like a bigger role for me because I spend most days when I get up, I make sure that I remind myself what I'm grateful for. And the first thing I'm grateful for is the fact that I'm awake again. I'll not talk about the specifics of it, but there were times where I got close to thinking, I'm going to make a decision when I don't wake up from it. And I'm glad that I didn't, because like life is good and I'm here, I'm smiling, I'm having a great day. I've had the opportunity to train this morning. I've been given, I'm just blessed. I live a good life. Yeah, maybe it's not, the most flashy life. I'm not living on Conor McGregor level, but I've got everything that I need. So it's just been really, I guess it was a good thing. Like these things kind of have to happen. But the way I look at it is I kind of dug myself out of the hole the only way that I knew. So once I kind of let everybody know what was going on and how bad it was and the kind of position I was in, everybody's questions were, are you okay? And that made it like a million times worse because I was like, well, no, I'm not okay. So what I did, and a lot of people, because people ask me if I'm going to do it again, but they don't know why I did it. So I dyed my hair pink. My hair was like bright pink. And the reason my hair was bright pink is because I was depressed. And I was like, do you know what? When people speak to me, you're going to ask me why I've got pink hair, and you're not going to ask me how I am. So they speak to me and ask me. It's just it takes it all away. If you ever watch any kind of documentary about Kobe Bryant, he'll talk to you about when the point in his life where everything was going wrong. So he had his wife actually miscarried. He had a lot of stuff going on in his personal life at the time, and he created this other identity, which was the Black Mamba. And like Kobe has to deal with all this personal stuff, but the Black Mamba just goes on the court and plays and dominates. And in my mind, I was like, okay, cool. So I'm going to give Joffie this opportunity, like this person, to deal with all the personal stuff. And this guy with the pink hair, he can deal with the day-to-day. He's fine. We'll leave him. He's outside. He deals with it. Joff, stay inside, figure everything else out.
It's such a good message to put out there to people, because there's a lot of people out there that's watching this, that's been in similar situation, and don't know how how to go about it. Do you think mental health issues should be more openly discussed in MMA? Because personally, we feel that just watching badass fighters like you be open about stuff like this gives other people, even people that are not fighters, just day-to-day people that can relate to you, or to actually go out there and get the help that they need.
It's really difficult, because there's this persona with fighting that you're like, for lack of a better word, fucking nails, like you're hard as fuck and you're like this all the time, and I'm like, it's just not reality. We got I think there's two things for me. Like, you've got to be honest with yourself about who you are, because that's the first thing. Like, putting up a front, it's not going to save you. You got to be honest and like open about all that stuff, whether it's your emotional or whatever's going on with you. If you're a dick, be a dick. Just be who you are. If you're a super nice guy like Wonder Boy, be a super nice guy like Wonder Boy. If whoever you are, you need to be, like I always tell everybody, be yourself. I think talking about like mental health is important, but I don't always think it's what is a resolution for stuff. I don't think it's what gets people there. You've got to go out, and if you need the help and the support, you need to go out and get that. But you kind of got to want to do it for you. I think when it comes to mental health, I think it's hard, but like, you're the only one on this journey. Like, you're the only one. So like, you need to do this for you. But if we all talk about it more, do people feel more open about going and getting support? I was very, very open from day about like how I was with it, especially once I got on the other side. Now, for me, I think like when we dim our light, like we kind of dim everybody else's light around us. And in the same way, if we allow ourselves to shine, we unconsciously give everybody else the opportunity to shine too. You know what I mean? That's like Atlas Shrugged, like Ayn Rand, but people will recognize it as Coach Carter. But like, if you give people that opportunity, like if you give them the opportunity to shine, and I think by talking about stuff like this, it unconsciously gives people that opportunity to go, yeah, I'm not feeling too good today. Maybe I do want to talk about it. Maybe, could we go outside and speak about it? But then I've also got to ask, you doing the right things for you? You going out on a walk? You getting some fresh air? Are you eating right? Are you drinking some water? Are you getting the things that you need? Because I'll tell you, like, mental health, like, it's no joke. But if you're not putting the right things into your body, whether that's like when you're eating, drinking, reading, consuming, you're fighting a losing battle.
Got you. And people, you heard it first here from Joffie. I mean, some of the messages that you've really given us this afternoon is so powerful, and I feel like it's needed out there. It's needed for the masses that are going through stuff like this on an everyday basis and don't know what to do about it, or even too proud to do something about it, because usually that's probably the number one barrier in a lot of these situations. People are too proud, can't put their ego in the back seat and actually go and get the help that they need. So
yeah, but it's like what and this is the crazy thing about it. Like, what are you being proud about? Like, what are you being proud about? Okay, so if you've got you've got a mental health issue and I'm tough, I'm going to stick it out. Okay, but what about when that stops working? Like, there's nothing to be, there's nothing big or clever about that. Like when my mum used to tell me off when I was a kid, she'd be like, "Do you think you're big or clever?" No. Like, I don't think I'm big nor clever. Like, and there's nothing big or clever about me turning around and going, I'm not going to deal with my mental health concerns, and I'm not gonna do this and that and that. Like, just deal with it. Like, I'm not saying every resolution is get on antidepressants. Some resolutions are get some counselling, get cognitive behavioural therapy. There's so many options, and like, the NHS is overrun, right? And this is a crazy thing. The NHS is overrun with people who are seeking mental health support, seeking different kinds of support. And in terms of the NHS, it's failing. Do you know what the NHS did during lockdown? They made mental health support free for everybody. They made sure that it was accessible online. You can self-refer for CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is 9 times out of 10 good enough for everybody. You can self-refer for that online. If you're feeling too self-conscious or too proud or however you feel and you don't want to go to the doctors, you don't have to. You can do it online.
100%. Big message for everyone over there from Joffie right here. And let me just move gears a little bit. Let me shift gears real quick. You fought in Cage Warriors, Bellator, now Aries. Which one really kind of feels? I know you're with Aries now, and you're probably going to go there with it. But which promotion do you feel like feels more like home? And what's kind of like the little subtle differences in working under those different promotions?
Okay, so
if any.
I fought on Cage Warriors Academy because I don't class it as Cage Warriors because I was an army, but it was on the Cage Warriors, like the Cage Warriors main card.
Yep.
That felt awesome. Like the thing that felt really good about that was I remember Graham Boylan coming in and giving a speech right before like the start of the show. So we'd like all given in our money and whatever. And he's like, "Yeah, this is Cage Warriors. Like, go do your thing." It was ace, and I was like, "This is so cool." I remember seeing Darren Till and Tom Aspinall before I'd started training with Tom, and I was like, "Oh my god, look at these!" I remember seeing Paddy Pimblett, like Monica, all of those.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, "Wow, the star power that's here!" Like Darren's in the UFC, and the rest of them are going that way. That was a cool event, and I think I fought on the Liverpool show at the Echo. It's ace. Like the environment was amazing, everything felt perfect. That was a really good one. Bellator was different, and I would love to run that back because I had the experience during lockdown. So COVID shows, nobody in the arena. It was just very distant to what I anticipated it would be. It was cold, like the arena was cold, everything about it was just, it didn't feel like I was fighting somebody. It felt like I'd gone into sparring and I'd gone into a really, really cold gym and I didn't know anybody. It was weird. Aries, do you know what? The show was good. The production was good. The seats that they gave Rich and my family were good because I went and sat in one after. It was cool because it's like in a pit. It's like an amphitheater. So all of the seats are like shoveled in so that you're in the middle. Ace. Good, really good for the viewing. And obviously the experience was ace. My only takeaway is that I think it was a bit disheartening, and only because everybody else made a deal of it that I didn't get a bonus.
Right.
So not getting a bonus was a bit like, right, what else do you want me to do? Like 9 seconds. I couldn't have made this any quicker. I've set your promotional record, whatever. And that's like, I'm not mad at it. It was just one of those things. But it probably took the shine off it. I think like, if it was me, obviously, I'd like I say, I'm with Aries at the moment. I've got 3 more fights with them. I'm probably going to go back there. Bellator would be another cool experience, but there's one experience that I haven't had yet, which is the main one that I want next, and that's the big one. That's the big one. The 3 letters, the one that we're all after. It's like that for me. I think when I touch, and I say when I touch the UFC, that'll be the feeling that I've been after. Aries felt close to what I was seeking, but it's not right.
I mean, with Aries, especially with the record that you set, 9 seconds, like you said, like you couldn't do a better job than that, to not get a bonus for that. It just feels like it's not recognized enough. You know what I'm trying to say?
I don't even think it was so here's my problem with it, right? And I'll speak openly because, if Aries have got a problem, you got my number, call me. So if you look back at the historical bonuses from them, the vast majority go to fighters from MMA Factory, which is obviously their home gym. That's not a problem. But I came in on short notice to fight one of your guys from MMA Factory, who you were anticipating was going to finish me. Aries didn't want me prior to this because my manager had reached out and they were like, "Yeah, we don't want him right now. Tell him to get some more fights." Kenzo came up and they were like, Kenzo should do him. Get Joff. I was like, Okay, cool. Now, on the media day, they asked me if I thought it was a mismatch, and I was like, well, no heavyweight fight is ever really a mismatch because we've all got one stop, like one shot knockout power. We all have it. Like, it's not like bantamweight where some people have an off switch and some people don't. Everybody at heavy does. We all just have it. And, you know, it's not a bad thing, but we all have it.
Yeah.
So, you know, them kind of saying to me, Kenzo's a better striker than you, and, you know, are you worried about him on the feet? I'm not worried about anything. I'm not worried about anything. Like, I came prepared for this. I spent a lot of time training, working with people who I believe are better level strikers, you know, and I think, you know, the world would agree Tom Aspinall is one of the best strikers in the world.
Yeah.
You know, all the team down there, you know, Pavel Daldadico, fantastic. Jamie Acton, he's an amateur, but he's an ex-pro rugby player. Absolute beast. Ben Francis, you ain't going to get anybody larger who's going to grapple you that way. Spending time with Phil DeFries and Mick Parkin. I'm working with high-level guys. So when I walked in, I was like, it doesn't matter if you think it's a mismatch, because I don't think it is. To then not give me a bonus, and the people that they did give bonuses to, I was a bit like, wow, okay. Like, the knockout of the night, I was like, it's a TKO. He took you 4 shots when he was on his back. What are you talking about? Like, I just put somebody unconscious in 2 hits. Like, what are you talking? How is this not me? And the other thing was, I didn't realize there was a Twitter poll for it. So there's one where I think it's like fan favorite of the night or something. One that decided on a Twitter poll. I was down by like 1. I was off by 1. I was like, I didn't even realize. If I'd have known, I got a lot of friends that actually use Twitter. I don't use Twitter. If I'd have known, I'd have been like, hi, can everybody just retweet this and put my name on it? Like, it's not difficult, but yeah, we'll go back there. We'll go back. I think, you know, obviously I'll just have to, I'm not going to be chasing a bonus. Like, I wasn't chasing a bonus this time, but I certainly won't be next time.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's really, really fantastic. You know, hearing your point of view and your perspective on that whole situation there, and that's shown a little bit more light on it right there. One thing I wanted to ask you, just a couple more before we go, because I'm very, very conscious of the time. Thank you so much.
I got all day, brother. I got all day.
For your time. I'm very, very conscious of it. So one thing I wanted to ask you, we came across a quote of you saying you likely always get paid to fight, but you love it so much that you're happy to do it for free. Can you expand on this? Because
most likely they pay me, but I do it for free.
I've always had you guys down as prize fighters. You know, every fighter loves to fight for a prize, whether it's money, whether it's legacy, whether it's, you know, gold. There's always something out there. But you love the sport so much.
So I know the quote. The quote is, most likely they pay me, but I do it for free. And it's kind of true. Like, you don't, when you're an amateur and you start fighting, you don't get paid. You make a couple of tickets, like, you know, a little bit of money for selling tickets. And as an amateur, I used to make money for selling tickets, and take that money to the bar and buy drinks for all of my friends that came and supported me.
Gotcha.
And now as a pro, like, yeah, I would love to do this full time as a job. Like, so I can't always sit there and go, I'll do it for free.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, if somebody calls me for a grappling competition, if Grapple Fest call me again, I'm not getting paid for that. Yeah, man, I'll be there. Let's go. It's competition. You know, I'm going to go and do jits competitions, and, you know, 9 times out of 10, they cost me money. But I'll go because it's fun. And I think the same comes with MMA for me. I think it probably does come down to wanting more legacy than anything. But once I get to that stage of I'm making enough money from this that I don't need any more money, well, then, yeah, whatever. Like, yeah, everybody wants to do it, you know, do it as a career and for a job. But you can't just sit there and you know, I only want money. Like, if you only wanted money, you're in this for the wrong reasons. I'm telling you now, that you're talking like 0.1% that actually make good, big, long-term money from this. There is UFC fighters currently who have pennies to their name, pennies, and they're like living paycheck to paycheck fighting. Look at, you know, Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse, before his like 3rd title defense, was still working part-time. was still working doing. I know there's multiple female UFC fighters that still have day jobs. I believe it's Emily Whitmire who was still working as a waitress in a restaurant. There was a lot of people that still do that. I'm still working full time.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there going like, I want to do this, like, and I want to make billions, and I want to be Conor McGregor and have my own whiskey company. Mostly because I don't like whiskey. I would want rum. But like, you know, I don't think that's a realistic expectation.
Yeah.
Would it be nice to do this for the rest of my life? Absolutely. And would I love to make money from it? Yeah. But if you turned around to me tomorrow and said, listen, we're never going to pay any fighter on the earth again, but we still need somebody to do it. Well, we may as well, aren't we? Like, let's have some fun then. Because if you think about, like, if you talk to like people that train with other high level guys, training with Tom isn't easy. That's like brain damage central. I'm doing it for free. I'm doing this by choice.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing it because I want to. It's my choice. You're not making me be here. I want to be here. And that's more what it's about for me. Like, it's not about like, oh, someone's going to pay me, so I'll train and I'll work really hard. I was going to do that anyway. You're paying me. That's cool. Like, it's cool that you want to pay me for it.
It's a lovely byproduct, right?
Yeah, like it's just it's why I didn't really kick off about the bonus with Aries, because I was like, listen, you've already paid me. It would have been cool for an additional 10,000. It would have been really cool. But oh well, move on.
Yeah, you know, just having these conversations with you this afternoon, I'm telling you right now, I've gotten a whole different outlook to quite a few things. Just sitting down here with you for the last 40 minutes, it's incredible, and I love that celebration you just did. Every time in the cage, and you get your work done, you give us that little.
Let everybody know.
Yeah, man.
I'm telling you, right? There's too many fighters. Especially heavies. Too many fighters that are like, I'm tough. I'm all of those things. Like, I'm outside of all of that. Like, I'm just nice. I'm nice. I have a laugh. Like, some people tell me I'm a little bit camp. I don't really care. Like, I'm just being who I am.
Yeah.
And I think, like, when I get the chance to flash my pose, I'm like, I'm being me. Like, it just is what it is.
We love it, man. We love it. We love everything about you. We love the way you go about your business. We love the way, you know, even getting to know you on a more personal level now. We even love that even more. And to me, you know, there's different kind of people in life, and you've come across as, you know, one of the most nicest, easygoing people. I could talk to you forever, and I say this a lot, but this is something you have to get, that vibe, that connection with people to really get to see what they're like. And yeah, man, you're a true fantastic human being from my interactions with you just now, and you're giving a lot of people, just with this message that you're giving out, food for thought. I'm going to be thinking about some of my outlooks on certain things when I get off from here, and I'll probably be contacting you on some of those things as well. Like, hey, Joffie, you know,
always available. I'm always available.
That day, man, I was thinking about it. Can you? I'll probably be reaching out to you, man, on those. So thank you so much for keeping that open line with us as well, man, because I really respect that. Now I'm going to ask you one more question before we get you out of here. What's next for Joff in the fight community? You know, in the MMA landscape, what's next for Joffie? What should your fans be expecting? Coming up,
wow.
At least before the year runs out.
I don't even know. I'm trying to get matched at the minute. I said to Aries, as soon as the fight was done, I'll be ready in September, and no one's called my phone. Like, you can check my phone right now. Like, literally, there's a group chat on there, but there's nothing else. The group chat and an Instagram. I'm really upset. Like, you know, call me. I'm ready. I don't think they'll have anything before October, but realistically, for me, I would like to see myself out in probably November. If I'm not offered anything relatively soon, better believe that I may as well run one more in the UK. I'm ready to go. I'd love to get kind of one more, certainly one more before the end of the year. And I think two more wins, and we'll start talking about that them three big letters, and kind of moving me towards them, because Dana, Mick, Sean, I can ensure that you can get my number. I'm very accessible. I'm just a call away. You need somebody short notice for them three, I'll do it. But I think I don't really put too much pressure on it all. I train hard. I've been working hard. I'm trying to develop myself and improve every day, much like the rest of us should be. When the fights come up, it gives me an opportunity to show the development I've had, and that'll be cool, and that'll help me to get there where I want to go long term. And we'll just keep winning and not worrying about the details. Like, don't sweat it. Do you know what I mean? Don't sweat it all. Like, it all figures itself out in the end. So, like, don't worry about the details. Just keep going, and you'll get there. Like Larry Bird said, if you put 100% in of everything into something, things have a way of working out, and that's how it'll go. So, for the rest of the year, just keep an eye out for me. I'm sure I'll fight somebody somewhere.
Don't worry, but we're definitely going to be keeping an eye on it. We're definitely going to be keeping an eye on your career, and we're going to be, doing everything we can from our side to push your page, to push your fights, to promote your fight, and get you out there as much as we possibly can. And we've come to the end of the show, and I want to thank you so much for your time. You've been very, very generous with it, and I can't show you how appreciative I am of that enough. And hopefully, because we do various other things on my channel where we break down other MMA fights. Sometimes we do like a watch companion. So if you're free sometime, maybe we can give you a call and you can join one of those.
I'm at the end of the phone. All you got to do is drop me a line.
No worries, man. I definitely I'm gonna take you up on that, man. Don't worry about that, man. Don't you worry about it. I'll take you up on it. And bro, you've been fantastic. And we love watching you. We love watching your fight, and we can't wait to see what's next for you out there. And please, if you have any sponsors, coaches, teammates that you want to give a shout out to, the floor is yours before we get out of here.
Naturally, I got to shout out everybody over at Team Aspinall currently, because they've been doing the world with me. Horizon BJJ, where I train in Stoke-on-Trent, and Suwa Muay Thai, where I also train here in Stoke. And then, Big Rich, got to shout out Big Rich. Big Rich has been sorting me out for a long time. Stone S&C, because they do all of my, they actually do all of my strength and conditioning now, and True Grit Training, where, I train a lot of that. But other than that, man, I'd like to, the biggest shout out I want to give, and I have to do this, two people. One, my mother, for bringing me into this world and giving me these opportunities. Yeah. And two, myself, for still going to work and ensuring that I can pay for them all. Yeah, man. Fantastic. People, you've heard it all here from Joff. Thank you so much for your time. And can't wait to bring you back on the show. I'll be dropping you a line, like you said, and then we'll keep an eye on your career. And big up to you and everybody on your team that's helping you trying to reach your goals and your achievements. Salute to you. And people, up onto the next video. We're out.
Hey guys, this is John Anik from the UFC. You're watching the Fight Week Show. Please subscribe. Not now, but right now. Subscribe to the Fight Week Show. We'll see you guys on the road soon.